Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're live. We're in the studio, so get involved in the chat and the comments. Going to be talking about all the latest Manchester United news. Going to have a little bit of an update on what is going on with some of the transfer rumours that you've seen, no doubt seen, floating around on all the papers. Plus, we'll have a bit of an update and a bit of commentary on some of the players we've already got, what's going to happen with some players that look like the surplus to requirements. And also, we'll have a bit of a chat about Senne Lammens, who's just been very, very good this season. And it's kind of gone under the radar a little bit. So we'll be getting into that. There's an article on him that I want to get into. Good to see the usual suspects and some new ones in the chat as well. Santa Notch says, happy Thursday. BMW Racing says, morning, Jay. Heaven Soul says, morning, Jay. Soldier, 4th class says, can't wait for Jay to be late by 10 minutes. Oh, Mr. Passive-aggressive there. He does put a little laughing emoji, to be fair to him. Right, let's get into it. Let's talk about some of these transfers, these wingers we're being linked with. It seems that there's like a load of wingers that are being linked with a move to Manchester United. Now, this is in the Mirror by Josh Holland. It says, shock Patrick Dorgu replacement as £40 million fee is set. Now, for that looks like you go, okay, Patrick Dorgu replacement, are we going to sign someone now? But I'm not sure if that is the case. So it says, sorry, it's okay. Yesterday we brought you news that United could move for AC Milan's Rafael Leao, while the Italian side are open to letting him go. The Daily Mail also claims Chelsea's Tyrique George has emerged as a possible wide attacking option in the summer. So it looks like the links are for signings in the summer, not for now. So I don't think you're looking at bringing in someone to replace Dorgu, although it sort of qualifies it here. It says, is this with George? The 19-year-old has been in and amongst the first team at Stamford Bridge for 2 seasons now. Last season, he played 8 times in the Premier League, scoring 1 goal and assisting another, but his minutes have been limited. Always getting limited minutes at Chelsea for these youngsters because of the amount of players they've got. Carrick has used Patrick Dorgu at left wing to great success in his first 2 games, but the former Lecce star is facing a period out. George is reportedly free to leave Chelsea and would cost around 22 million, a similar fee to the one agreed with Fulham last summer. It's a bit ambiguous there. I don't think United are going to go out and buy someone in January to replace Patrick Dorgu. I know he's going to miss 8 games, but I don't think he is. And I don't think the article's clear on whether they even expect him to. It seems like that, if it's going to happen, which is doubtful, is going to be a summer signing anyway. Because it's not really a replacement for Patrick Dorgu. When you say replacement for Patrick Dorgu, for me that means you're bringing in someone now, this window, to come straight in. Now, you're not going to, like, if you're going to sort of do the sort of logistics of it, you're not going to get anyone in for the Fulham game. That ain't going to happen. So that's one game that is out of the question that Dorgu's missing. Then you've got another 7 games that I think Dorgu's going to miss. So you're bringing in a player for those 7 games when you've already got Matheus Cunha there, probably waiting to sort of start now that Dorgu's injured. You've also got Shea Lacey you could give minutes to, Mason Mount. I know he's not a winger, but he could play in that sort of position. There are options there. Joshua Zirkzee, which gets to in a minute. Could he get some minutes? Also, you could mix it up and put Benjamin Sesko in there. I know it's slightly different. I mean, maybe in Mbama and Bumo or Ahmad over there. I think there's other options before you start buying players to replace Patrick Dorgu. So I'm not putting much weight in that. Maybe in the summer there could be something there. We spoke about this last night on Paddock Live. Chelsea are nuts when it comes to transfers, for want of a better word. You just can't count anything out with Chelsea. They love selling players, they love buying players, and even players that do relatively well there. You look at him, you think, oh, he's doing quite well, and then before you know it, he's gone. I mean, this morning upstairs, we were talking about Nicholas Jackson. Now, I know he's not great, but he did quite well there, and all of a sudden he was off to Bayern Munich. You just don't know what's going on with Chelsea. It's always a bit of a funny club, innit, when it comes to transfers. So definitely one to keep an eye on in the case of George, but nothing concrete as yet. And I think the same goes with Rafael Leao. Feels very much like paper talk in essence, bit of a, people jumping on rumours and suggestions, and that could work if you think about it. But I've not seen anything that makes me think we're going to sign any of those players. But as always, we will keep you posted. Stephanie Griffiths says, only 15 likes. Hit that like button, please. People, come on, you can do it. Randon Lewis says Palmer is coming. I think Fabrizio Romano was pouring cold water on the idea of Cole Palmer coming to Manchester United, but things can change. There we go. We've got it there. Cole Palmer is a key player for Chelsea now and long term. No contact with Manchester United. Reports are false. If he ever leaves, Chelsea will demand a huge fee. Now, to be fair, I don't think there was much talk of like contact with United. I don't think there was. I think there was sort of a lot of the stories, not all of them, a lot of the stories were saying that Cole Palmer is homesick, he's open to move back to Manchester. United would be interested in signing him, which you kind of go, okay, that all makes sense if any of it's true. If it is true, he's homesick. Chelsea obviously don't want to sell him. That's what Fabrizio Romano is saying. I get that. Also, the bit about a huge fee, no one's denying that. If you did want to buy Cole Palmer, you're talking potentially British transfer record fee. He's on a 9-year deal. He's 23? So if you were to sign him, you're getting one of the best players in the league who's got many, many years ahead of him, who's also tied down to a club long term. So you would have to spend upwards of 110, 120 million. You're probably going to get to the British transfer fee record. That's what I think anyway. But is it going to happen? Unlikely. I think I said this last night, and Fabrizio Romano kind of backs that up. Let's talk about Ndiaye. Football transfer rumours, Rafael Leao or Iliman Ndiaye to Manchester United. This is Will Unwin in The Guardian, basically saying that there's these rumours are doing the rounds and that Everton's Iliman Ndiaye has been one of those links with the move to Manchester United. We had this last night again in Paddock Live. It is something that isn't going away, but I don't know how much weight you can put into it. He's had a decent season. He's obviously a talented lad, but are United looking at him? Is he one of the players that's on a list? Do we even know who we're going to be going for definite in the summer yet? I'm not so sure. I think the priority is a midfielder. We all know that. Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton are the three names we keep hearing. We know we need a midfielder. We're going to lose Casemiro. Even if we kept Casemiro, we'd still need a midfielder. So with him going, you probably need two. Manuel Ugarte is more likely to leave as well. This is going to be the end of his second season. Hasn't really worked out for him. So you expect him to leave in the summer. So if you're going to lose two midfielders, I think you probably need three. Don't know how realistic that is, but you certainly need to replace two midfielders if you're losing two. So can United replace two midfielders and go out and get a winger? Possibly. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibilities that United go out and buy three players in the summer. I think we're going to buy at least one attacking type player, whether that's a winger or a striker, especially if we get Champions League football. We're going to have to strengthen. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's not the most crazy notion I've heard. Let me know what you think. If you've seen a lot of him, I think whenever I've seen him, he looks decent. Whether he's going to end up at Manchester United remains to be seen. Glenn F says, morning. Oh, he's speaking to Stephanie as well. Martin says, if we get a Dorgu replacement rather than try Academy, will JJ look at that and go, I'm leaving? JJ Gabriel. Again, though, a Dorgu replacement for me, I don't think that's worded very well. Because I think if you're buying someone in the summer, is that a Dorgu replacement? Why would you want to replace Patrick Dorgu? He's mint. So, I don't know. I think you should still buy an attacker. JJ Gabriel is still going to be very, very young. We have to remember this. Next season, I think he's 15 now, so next season he'll be 16, obviously. You know how fractions work. But is he going to be in the first team? No, I don't think he will be. He might get some minutes. He might get some appearances. But I don't think he's going to be someone who's going to be starting many games for Manchester United at the age of, I think he might even be 15 when the season, is he going to be, no, he was 15 when the season started. So I think he shouldn't be too disheartened if United go out and buy attackers, because he's potentially a year, 2, maybe even 3 years away from first team football regularly. So I don't really think it's going to hurt him. Joshua Bowater says, so we're signing Sterling on a free? ? Yeah, that came up last night about Raheem Sterling. Sim says he's 16 till he turns 17, Jay. Yep. Heaven Soul says, until JJ turns 18, if he leaves before that, then so be it. He's still a child, and if he thinks he should be somehow be a first teamer before even being a legal adult, then I'm not fussed about it. Yeah, well, we don't know what's going on with JJ Gabriel. We don't know if he expects to be in the first team anytime soon. We know he's being lauded as, Kid Messi and one of the best youngsters there's ever been, but we'll have to wait and see whether that pans out to first team football next season or after that, and what his future may hold. I think we've got him for at least till the end of next season, and then he could look at moving elsewhere. So maybe United give him some minutes just to keep him happy. Arsenal did that, didn't they, with Ethan Nwaneri? And with Max Dowman, he's probably the obvious one where it was like, as soon as he was eligible to get first team minutes, they gave it him. They said, like, look, you're a big part of our plans, and we're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we'll put you in the first team, put you in and around the first team, because he was smashing it for their academy. And there was talk that maybe he could be looking to go elsewhere. Arsenal have lost a few youngsters, haven't they, over the years, especially to Manchester United, where they look at Aiden Evan for £1 million, which looks like a bargain, and Chido Obe. So there was sort of rumours that perhaps Max Doman could be tempted to go elsewhere. However, those rumours have sort of been eradicated by the fact that Arsenal have got him into the first team, made him a part of their plans. He obviously feels loved at the Emirates. And also Arsenal are smashing it, aren't they? I know we just battered them, but they've just won, I think it's 8 in a row in Europe. They're in a title challenge. If you're Max Dowman and you're happy there, then you've got no reason to leave, even if a club much bigger like Manchester United comes calling. Let's talk about Senne Lammens. So here's a graphic for you. This is in the Athletic, or the New York Times /Athletic. So there's an article sort of talking about Senne Lammens, how good he's been, how it's almost going under the radar, just how he's having a good season. I agree with all of it. And it's just the title of the article, how Senne Lammens is making Manchester United better. There's some stats there about non-penalty shots on target facing Manchester United in the Premier League and how he's been getting on with them. I think he's the stats are he's sort of slightly outperforming the XG in terms of the amount of shots he's facing, the amount of expected goals. He's doing better than you would expect. Look, I think he's done a fantastic job, Senne Lammens. I think you can't underestimate how difficult it is as a 23-year-old to come into this Manchester United side as the goalkeeper. A Manchester United side that was struggling, a Manchester United side that had 2 goalkeepers that just weren't up to scratch. Iliman Ndiaye started the season and he had a stinker against Arsenal, no disrespect, but let's be honest, he did. Then you bring in Andre Onana, who apparently was meant to be our first choice. He has an absolutely woeful game against Grimsby Town. So he's like, right, well, we can't rely on him anymore. Senne Lammens comes in. He's then got all this pressure because it's not like if you come in as an attacker and you can have a quiet game or a bad game or maybe even 2 or 3 bad games. Brian Mbeumo, who we all love, has had a few bad games for Manchester United this season. If you do that as a goalkeeper, you're probably going to cost us a load of matches and end up getting dropped. Senne Lammens, though, has been pretty consistent all season. I've been massively impressed with him. It's not easy to do that. And yeah, I think he deserves his flowers. He really does. It's almost gone under the radar because the focus has been on Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha more recently. And we've been looking at other players like Patrick Dorgu, who's obviously been here for a little longer, and just how well Kobbie Mainoo's doing since he's come back into the team, and the fact that Casemiro's had this rejuvenation, and we all love Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez is mint, and Luke Shaw's having a great season. So many players for once that you can talk about in a positive vein that you can almost sort of forget about the fact that a 23-year-old goalkeeper came into this side and just got on with it. And how often do you sort of highlight a mistake by Senne Lammens? I don't want to jinx the lad, but very rarely. How often do we were doing that with Bayern Day? It was every game. Onana, practically the same. Costing us big points. Costing us games, costing us points actually, costing us trophies in some respects. So yeah, I think Lammens deserves a lot of credit. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let me know what you think. Onana didn't live up to the hype, says Chills. I agree with that. The Dorgu injury is a real test for Carrick. If he finds a solution and we do well, why not give him the job permanently? It says fight the oligarchy. MN2K2 Shock says, we got bullied to paying 60 million for Mount when he's a bench warmer for Chelsea with 6 months left on his contract. Sterling is part ways with Chelsea, but Watch will somehow get bullied to paying a fee. I don't think Manchester United are going to sign Raheem Sterling, and I don't think we should, to be honest with you. Let's talk about Marcus Rashford. It looks like he's going to be staying at the new camp. Everyone is insinuating, or not insinuating, is saying that Marcus Rashford ain't coming back to Manchester United. And according to this website that's quoting Fabrizio Romano, Barcelona want to keep Marcus Rashford and have already told his camp they want to make the move permanent. No talk with Manchester United yet, but Barca will try to reduce the 30 million fee agreed last summer. The fact you can't get 30 million euros from Marcus Rashford is nuts, isn't it? I know people go, oh, Jay fell off a cliff at United and he weren't good enough and all the rest of it. I understand all that, but £30 million for a player that does get you goals and assists, that's still in his 20s, like €30 million, sorry. Come on, man. United should be getting more than that. You should be getting at least 50 million euros from Marcus Rashford. You probably won't, but you should. But look, it's all profit in it because he's an academy graduate. He's on massive money. I get all that. He's not going to come back to Manchester United, so you may as well get what you can. It just feels like United are getting our pants pulled down a little bit. Let's talk about Joshua Zirkzee. So we've got this from, I don't know where this has come from. Is this from Turkish outlet? Thank you, producer Ben. The Yellow and Navy Club. What? So this is Fenerbahce, I believe, have added 24-year-old Manchester United footballer Joshua Zirkzee to its list. It has been learned that Fenerbahce wants to loan the Dutch forward and contacts with Manchester United will begin in the short term. I wouldn't be surprised if this went either way. Neither way would shock me, right? And I'll qualify what I'm on about there. If United went, look, We just need everyone we've got in a minute. We get an injury to Mateus Cunha or to Brian Mbeumo or to Ahmad. The chances are that Joshua Zirkzee, or even actually Benjamin Sesko, the chances are that Joshua Zirkzee gets some minutes. So, and he has had minutes this season. So let's not let him go because we can use him. The flip side to that argument is he's barely getting any minutes. He's not really the first teamer. He's a sort of squad player in here. United might go, we don't need you. And we've only got one game a week. And if you want to give yourself a chance of getting in Ronald Koeman's World Cup squad, then yeah, we'll let you go. So it could go either way, couldn't it? If the club has any sympathy towards Joshua Zirkzee, they'll let him go, just so he can try and get himself in the Dutch World Cup squad, and so he can get football, because he's not getting any minutes, is he really? However, if they wanted to be really hard-faced, they could go, look, we know you're not playing a lot, we know you're not really involved, but we might need you. We might need you. There's a chance that you could end up being an important part of this team if we get some injuries. So it's one of those, isn't it? Let me know what you think. Heaven Soul says, we need backups. Club comes first over players chasing World Cup champions. Chill says, you lot have found a gem with Lammens, to be fair. Glenn F says, Rashford scored last night and got an assist for Barca. So there you go. There's another reason why Barcelona will be looking at him. I don't know about this one. Onana was never given a chance because of the racism, says Dermot. Listen, I'm not being racist against Andre Onana when I said I don't think he's remotely good enough for Manchester United, and I think he was a bit of a calamity, to be honest with you. He had ample chances to prove himself. He had a whole season. In fact, it was 2 seasons, wasn't it? To prove himself, and he never did. Even when we were successful in sorts, we look at that FA Cup win. Even in the final, he had a bit of one for Jeremy Doku's goal. So I'm not buying into the idea it was racism that cost Andre Onana his place at Manchester United. I think it was his performances going right up to that one against Grimsby Town, his last game for Manchester United, where he absolutely let 2 easy goals in against League 2 opposition. You can't blame that on racism. Eric the King says Zirkzee has to stay. Squad depth is low anyway. See, this is what I mean. I don't want to sit on a fence. I want to be, definitive in my opinion on anything. But with Zirkzee, I'm like, push comes to shove, I'd probably let him go. But I wouldn't be that surprised if United went, no, we need you. We haven't got any strikers, really. We've got Sesko. I know you can play Mbeumo in that role. Zirkzee's a 9.5, but he has played as a striker. He's even played as a striker this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if the club played hardball. But if it was me making decisions, which it ain't, I'd let him go off to Fenerbahce, or the yellow and blue, whatever they were called on that tweet. We're going to be back later on today. We've got Laurie Whitwell on the channel for Inside United. So we're going to be picking his brains on what is going on with the training, with the coaching, with Michael Carrick, what's going on with some of the signings, what's going on with Patrick Dorgu. He was one that broke the injury news as well. So we'll be chatting to Laurie. So make sure if you're not doing so already, you are subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on that. Check out the merchandise as well. There's a link in the chat to our merch. You can see some of it up there. Stretford Paddock store. I've been Jay Marty. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.